Some final expense insurance agents will call through their leads like 6 to 10 times each day, while they're setting appointments in order to book their days up as much as humanly possible. Meanwhile, others just take the lead to the client's front door and introduce themselves. In this video, I'm going to share my entire final expense insurance sales process, soup to nuts, and I'll be covering like how I approach different leads, when to door knock, when and if you should call your leads to set appointments, and other stuff like that. We'll also be going over some key parts of my final expense insurance presentation and how I keep a very high persistence, how I save cancellations, and some pointers on keeping your low-income clients on the books longer than like most agents can do, so that you can go back later and sell Medicare Advantage to them or other Medicare products maybe, so that you get access to that lifetime residual income. Oh, and guys, yeah, now is the perfect time to smash down on that like button and subscribe with the notifications turned on. Let's start with my approach to different leads, and if you'd like a copy of, here's a couple things that are really cool, guys. The warning page that I use to scare off other insurance agents who, might come along to try to replace a policy that I sold, along with the policy summary that we leave with everybody we sell. And this is where, we leave the monthly payment and the draft date for the client. And it even has a spot to put your name and phone number. Just stick around until the end of the video, guys. I'll show you how to get both of these for yourself. A different final expense lead deserves a slightly different approach. I mean, pretty much the same, but a little different. Personally, I like direct mail leads because I can get more of this type of lead in a smaller populated area than any other type of lead. And when working full-time, I prefer to, work as many leads as possible, really. I mean, my suggestion would be to do like 30 to 40 exclusive direct mail leads every single week. And that's how I do it when I'm working full-time. So during that week, I've got 2 days where I do nothing but call through the leads like 8 to 10 times each, and even like double and triple dialing each lead during those 8 to 10 dials. 40% of my leads will end up being appointments. So if I'm getting, let's say, 40 direct mail leads each week, I expect to get around 15 set appointments that same week. And when working Facebook leads, FYI guys, these are really difficult to get on the phone. I'll probably only get appointments from like 10 to 15%. And this is why it's hard to just take the Facebook lead and set an appointment, and you're better off to just grab the sucker and take it to the client's house and door knock it. Seriously, forget about calling Facebook leads. It just doesn't work. Unless you're doing telesales and you're generating them yourself, then that's a different story altogether. And guys, here is your pro tip of the day. If you are new to final expense insurance sales, and even if you're working direct mail, I suggest just taking the leads to the client's house and door knocking them, period. Don't bother calling to set appointments until you are an absolute master at the art of door knocking, because it really is an art when you break it down. And because in all honesty, most of your sales are probably gonna come from door knocking the leads. Me? Well, when they don't answer after calling at least a couple of days, answer the phone, I will take the lead and I'll door knock it. And if someone tells me that they're not interested, I'm gonna door knock that lead too. Here's my perspective on door knocking leads of people that say that they're not interested when you call to set the appointment, or they just do something weird, or like maybe hang up or something, even cuss you out. They filled out the lead, right? I mean, you spent money on that lead too. Do your job. Simply get them the information that they requested and don't listen to the nonsense. Get in that house, make your presentation, and help these folks and their family, even if there's pushback. I have made sale after sale from people that didn't take an appointment over the phone and ended up thanking me for being so persistent. Seriously, they'll do that. They'll start by putting the wall up, and the next thing you know, they're handing you the check. Some of the hardest earned sales will end up being your best clients for life. Once I'm in the house, I relax. I treat the prospects with absolute respect. I expect the same back. I take my time and make the best final expense presentation that I've ever done in my entire life, every single time. I share a little bit about myself, some info, about me, my personal commercial. I get them to open up a little bit about themselves. I go over the 3 reasons presentation and get them to admit that they need the insurance. It's very important that you get them to do that. And what I'll do is I'll find out who the beneficiary is, and I get the client to admit that they don't want that person to be stuck having to come out of pocket for the burial and or the cremation. I'll go over the differences between all the different types of insurance that they're seeing on TV and getting in the mail and the phone calls versus whole life final expense insurance. Do your field underwriting, pick a carrier to sell them, price out 5 death benefit options, that's what I do, and close that sale. In the end, after the sale is completed, it's important for you to spend a little extra time with the client and just talking about anything other than insurance. Seriously, I write down the monthly premium for them along with the draft date, and I put it all on the policy summary, and I leave them with a brochure, of course, my business card, and I'll even ask them if they'd like a copy of my generic last will and testament. I want to build as much value and give them more reasons to stay with me. And again, I just start talking about anything, whatever. It doesn't matter. You just start talking, pick a topic, speak with them, hang out a little while. That way they won't get buyer's remorse the second you walk out the door. When I get home, the first thing I do is I print out a thank you note, I sign it, and I mail it out to them. That way, they're getting something from me within like a day or 2 of making the sale, of the meeting, which will remind them that I am legitimate and that I am absolutely there for them. Look, you gotta deliver the policy, and for some companies, they don't want you to do that. They'll mail it to the client. That's fine. Just stop by, go over it them once they've gotten it in the mail, and now that you've earned their business, they will absolutely give you referrals. This is when you pull out the agent evaluation page and you say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I need you to fill this out for me real quick, please. At the end, it asks if they'd refer you to friends and family. Of course, they're going to check. Of course, yes. Then what you do is you just say, hey, you mind writing down a couple of names and phone numbers for me? Now that the easy part is done, if you want to keep these folks on the books longer and or possibly save yourself from getting into debt, here's what you're going to do. First, start using a CRM. Yes, in the old days we didn't do that. Put your client's info in there and just make sure to send them either a text message or maybe a voicemail at least, I want to say 2 or 3 times each year. And with the CRM, you're going to be able to get notifications on different events like your client's birthday. So now you give them a call. A lot of times you're going to be the only person that actually thinks of them on their birthday. And I know that's kind of sad, but it's true. And a lot of our seniors, even their kids, don't call them on their birthdays. And if you're really good, you'll do what Ruben does. You'll stop in on the birthday. You're going to bring them a big old candy bar, a Snicker bars or something. You're going to wish them a happy birthday and, remind them that you're there for them. And also remind them that you remember how they did want more insurance when they first met. Now, this is if they don't bring it up first. You'll be surprised that things that they will bring up while you're just talking to them. The next thing you know, they're saying, hey, I got a question about the policy. And then they're asking, how much would it be to add some insurance? Pro tip number 2, never try to save cancellations over the phone. And I know I've spoken about this in other videos, but a lot of agents don't seem to listen. Guys, always do it in person so that you can do a price drop close and keep that client for life. Saving policies that have insufficient funds or cancellations over the phone, it just doesn't work. For a copy of the warning page I leave during my policy delivery, along with the policy summary that I leave with everybody I sell, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. For more information on selling final expense and or Medicare Advantage as a completely independent insurance agent, just email me at that same address. Remember guys, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now get out there and do something good for someone today. Happy hunting.